Why did that happen? I would like to state, this can be argued, but as was suggested on the floor, the acts of extremism come from two directions, either from those who are extremely anguished, are trying to achieve their freedom and rights, or from those who have huge amounts of greed. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would truly and honestly like to see world treating the problems at their roots, not actions that come as a result of them.
And how would you suggest the UN group therefore goes about its work?
I'm currently studying, so I'm acquiring intelligence. I'm learning how to treat these problems. I have my own opinion on it.
Well, they're here, you have a chance to give them some advice.
I would like the world to realize why Muslims are angry. I mean, this is, as it was suggested, it's been bottling up. There's a lot of oppressions on Muslims all around the world. And not only Muslims, I mean, Christians also, as we said, minorities. How we treat minorities is a degree of our democracy, and I'm sorry to say, but I've experienced it firsthand. I'm a Bosnian, and I've seen, even though I was a majority, I have seen how I was treated.
John Esposito.
Yeah, I think that one has to, I take very seriously what you said, and I think there has to be a kind of two-pronged approach. I think, one, you do have to look at what the root causes are, and often people don't want, the way people get around dealing with serious situations of injustice is to just say they're a bunch of extremists, as if therefore they're just irrational. So you have to deal with root causes, and I think that members of the Alliance certainly are concerned about this, as many in the room are. But I also think that something that, to follow up on what Archbishop Tutu said and also what the rabbi said earlier, there's the positive constructive side. If we're going to talk about creating a better world, and it's for your generation to do it. On the one hand, when you see injustice, you have to look at what are the political, socioeconomic root causes. At the same time, we have to begin to promote a world that takes globalization and pluralism very seriously. A world in which we really do be able to say we can agree to disagree. A world which can say you can hold your beliefs as firmly as you want, religious, political, and I can hold mine, but I can also understand where you're coming from, I can make that effort, and I can respect your right to believe that way. And so it's got to be a two-pronged approach, it seems to me. In a sense, you know, an immediate as well as a long term.
All right, let's go on to a question from Aisha Butt, please.
Do you not feel that a whole generation has been lost to extremism because extremism is seen as a logical response to the injustices suffered by Muslims at the hands of the West? And do you also not feel that until those injustices are addressed, extremism will remain a part of the Islamic identity?
Shaykh Hamza, Yusuf.
One of the things that's really overwhelming for the Muslims and why you're getting really radical responses is the culture of the West, which was not really, it never colonized the Muslim world in any real way. There was a military presence, but the Muslims still had their culture intact. Now you have a real onslaught of culture, and there's an incredible amount of cognitive dissonance amongst Muslims, and a lot of the more religiously informed, they just don't know how to deal with. How do you deal with MTV? You know, how does a devout Muslim deal with MTV and the fact that his children are watching this? I don't, you know, there's a beautiful Arab poem, you know, إِنَّ لَفِي زَمَنٍ إِنَّ لَفِي زَمَنٍ لِفَرْطِ شُذُوذِهِ مَنْ لَا يُجَنُّ بِهِ لَيْسَ بِعَاقِلِ. We're living in an age of such extremes that the one who's not driven mad by it is not sane.
Let me go back to the question and ask you whether you feel that the generation has been lost. Could you stand up, please?
Well, partly. I mean, like he said, through MTV and everything, everyone is influenced by these things, especially through Western clothes and stuff like that. So yeah, partly it has been lost. I mean, we try to keep our Islamic culture in there, but with influences like from TV and from Western culture, things keep, I mean, like, they keep on coming in, and you can't stop that. You can't stop the changes. So.
This gentleman, 4 rows back. Can we get a microphone? Could you stand up, please, sir?
I don't think the youth today have meaningful avenues and forums where they can carry out meaningful debate and discussions, much like this forum here. I think the main point that we should bring out is that we should foster an environment that encourages this debate, and not necessarily saying that I agree that you're right, I think what Mr. Tutu was saying, But I think that you're wrong, but in a respectful way, and that we can.
Dianna Buttu.
For example.
I think you're an idiot, but in a respectful way.
For example, let's say to a Muslim, we can never accept that the Trinity is a truth, but somebody may hold that to be a truth. But at the end of the day, we should be able to walk away as human beings, as brothers in humanity. So I don't think that eliminating this form of extremism is necessarily accepting that every truth is correct. It's just fostering an environment that allows debate.
Desmond Tutu, you want to come in here?
It's fantastic that you care. And I would say yes. I mean, you have many things that are against you. But one of the most wonderful things about young people, yourselves, is that you are such idealistic creatures. And why you care, why you are outraged, is your belief that this world can be, in fact, a better place. And I'm glad that there are young people like you. I'm appalled, I mean, that you should be talking of lost generations and things of that kind. You ain't lost generations. You are fantastic people. And I'm glad you're around, and I wish I was maybe like, no.
You're going to hold that thought,
no,
are you?
I really want to say this to you. You are God's most outstanding collaborators for turning this world into a better place.
Question there from the panel.
When I talk to British or American youth, what I say is that perhaps my generation can't sort this out. And you are young enough to have a new idea to change the world by thinking critically and participating. We should give you more avenues to speak and to think and make your views heard. We've been very concerned about this on the Alliance, and it's been wonderful to listen to you today with views that you can share with us. But go on thinking. Don't ever stop questioning.
All right. I want to go to a question which actually follows up exactly on that thought, and this is from Amber Tariq.
What do you believe that Muslim women can do within their communities to fight the rise of extremism within this region?
What can Muslim women do in their homes and in their communities to fight the rise of extremism? Dianna Buttu.
Thank you. Women can do a number of things. One is to be engaged in their communities and in their societies. And whether
engaged in what way?
Engaged in all different types of levels.
Some examples.
For example, on a political level, women's involvement does not have to end at a certain area and begin in a certain area. For example, women can get involved in the political spectrum. I've been involved in the political arena. Women can get involved in social arenas, community service, charitable organizations. They can get involved even just on the level of home maintenance, of maintaining and raising children who are going to then become also productive members of society. The real challenge is there space going to be provided to women, or are they constantly going to have to fight for that arena to be able to have their voices heard?
Shaykh Hamza Yusuf, advice to Muslim women in their homes.
Well, I think it's important. Just there needs to be deeply nurturing environments, but there needs to be from the husbands and the brothers. There also needs to be